Welcome to How Do You Like Your Coffee? I'm your host, Chris. And like I said in the intro video, if you're thinking about going to school or maybe returning to school, I'm hoping to help you out a little bit in, knowing where to start. I mean, the questions in your head might be, life with dogs. Anyway, you might be wondering how to go about it. How do you begin? How am I going to pay for it? Well, that's what this series is going to be all about. You can check it out in the intro video, what this series is going to have in it. But the first thing you're going to probably want to do is keep in mind what your goals are, what you want to do, what your interests are, what you hope to get out of going back to school, and are you seeking a degree, a certificate, associates, bachelor's, master's, maybe even taking a single course, a single course or two to move up on the ladder of whatever you're doing. But the first thing you're going to want to do is do some research according to your interests and goals first. The next thing is, while you're doing that research, first of all, that's when it's a good time to start making a list of the schools. Because, and don't worry about how long the list is going to be, because you take that list and eventually it's going to shrink as you move on with your research. It's going to shrink, definitely, because there's a lot more than just your program study to consider. Then, after that, you might want to think of what might fit your schedule. Do you have a full day to yourself, or do you work during the day? Maybe you have other responsibilities during the day that might block you from going to a traditional school, or maybe you prefer to go to a traditional school. But I think this is a good time to start talking about online studies, because that's where I went. Since 2014, I've been going to online school. And, all right, so I mentioned that I had gone to online school since 2014. Actually, I've been to two schools. And let me tell you, they are different from one another. So you're going to find that out in your research. Also, there's also some misconceptions involved in online school. Before you make a decision, you say, "Oh, online school's not legitimate." It is. Online school's for lazy or those who want to take it easy. That is not true. Okay, first of all, that somebody going to online school, they probably have a full day doing something else. Maybe. It all depends on why they chose online school. And second of all, it's not easy. It's no easier than traditional classwork. It's the same textbooks. It's sometimes even the same instructors. The instructors that are instructing on online school have the same credentials as those who teach in traditional school. As a matter of fact, some of them do both. Some of them teach during the day at traditional, some do their other coursework at night for those who are going to online school. But as far as the work goes, sometimes it can be a little bit more work than traditional school, from what I've learned from fellow online students. For example, all right, you go into brick and mortar school, you're going in and the teacher gives you a lecture, probably on the daily. They're talking about whatever it is that you're learning. In an online school, you don't get that. Once in a while, you do run into an online school that has seminars. I had one of the online schools I did, had a weekly seminar. But on the other hand, they replace this with what they call a student portal. They might have another name for it. In the student portal, you are usually required, and probably most of the time required, to do discussion boards. most of the requirements are you make one main post according to what might be the question for that week, and then you have to make 2 or 3 more posts to fellow students. Now, there might be also more written work involved. Now, from what I heard from fellow students, this, especially one had pointed out that they get more involvement and more interaction with fellow students than they did in traditional school. For example, some traditional schools, classrooms could have a good 40 people in it. Now, when I went years ago, there was a traditional school classroom that I went into. There was about 40 students. The interaction was very low because there was so many people in that classroom. You didn't get to voice your opinion most of the time. But when you're going to online school, you get to get yourself out there. You get to say things that you normally wouldn't get to say if you were in the traditional classroom. But it's been said that it's more demanding. I'll tell you, it's more time. You have to be more self-disciplined in time management because it's not a scheduled process. It's something that you have to take the time to schedule yourself. It's for those who are can manage their time a little bit. I'm not saying that I can, because sometimes I fall behind, and I'll probably get into that in another video as well. All right, and also those discussions make up for your attendance, your participation, and they equal to a good 45 to 50% of your grade. Now, let me see, what can I get on to next? The next thing you might want to get into is accreditation. Most of the time, you're going to see accreditation. Most schools now are required to be accredited, especially if it comes to financial aid, which is another video as well. Okay, and then you're going to see whether they're regionally or nationally accredited. Again, another video. Oh, wait a minute. Another thing you're going to learn, and I probably should have mentioned this before, is a lot of the things people think, well, what about the degrees that you earn? Employers don't like people who earn their degree online. There's no difference between the degrees that you earn online than you do in traditional classroom. First of all, most of the online studies you will see are also brick and mortar schools running these online classrooms. And you get the same degree as you would if you went to their traditional classrooms. You also get the same transcripts. As a matter of fact, the degree and the transcripts do not say you earned it online or you earned it in the classroom. It just says what the degree is for and things like that. A few things to keep in mind while you're doing your research is, and we'll cover this in probably the next video on financial aid and payments, is cost and how you are going to pay for it. You also might want to look at what the requirements are, the application requirements, fees, whether you need proof of your GED and high school diplomas. You may even also be required to do a pre-application essay in order to be accepted, because the one college that I'm going to right now did ask for an essay at the very beginning before they would accept the application. Another thing, whether it's online or not, depending on whether you might be going to their local libraries, maybe you have an area school. In my college, the college I'm going to now, even though it's online, I was required immunization records because they have a local school here. They have a local library, they have a local school, so I was required to prove my immunization. Okay, so check these things out, and you might be able to narrow your list a bit when it comes to all this. And I know that it seems like a lot of work, but it is. It's a lot of work, but you'll find it a little bit easier as you go along. Few research tips. First of all, search by keyword. Search by keyword on your favorite search engine. Usually if you say online schools or schools that, and then say your program of study. And then accredited schools. If you want a list of their accreditation, you can say, is this school accredited? You can also find a lot of videos right here on YouTube, and people like myself sharing their experiences, and there's also many schools have their own individual YouTube channels. I'm also going to leave some links in the description below. Now there's one real helpful one that's a downloadable PDF checklist. It's a checklist for college. That will be a big help. And you can also never be afraid to call the school themselves. They have specialists usually right there, ready to talk to you. Believe me, they want you enrolled in their school, so they're going to be more than willing to talk to you. Ask them about anything you need to know. Ask them about program of study, whether it's online or traditional, the accreditation, regional, national, and just look right on their site. Just dig right in there and look right on their site. In the meantime, leave a comment in the section below if you have any comments to how you have gotten into your studies and some of your experiences, and leave some questions too, or some ideas for a future video. And in the meantime, press the subscribe button, and click the bell icon so you will be notified of the next upload. And in the meantime, keep the coffee hot and the pinkies up, and I will see you